So I just closed a $2 million deal just this week and transferred that and parlayed that, there's a good word for you, into a $4 million deal. And I want to tell you how to do this. So I met this guy who, through one of my attorneys that I work with, one of the things that I really am super happy that I do, that I'm always telling you guys to do as well, is to build your sphere of influence. And so I built my sphere of influence by calling professionals. This is what all of us should be doing. By calling professionals, any kind of attorneys, CPAs, investment advisors, home family managers, retirement home executives. Call these guys and let them know that you're interested in getting to know them. Let them know that you want to be their best friend. You want to exchange referrals. I've done many videos about this. And I was really fortunate that I met this guy through an attorney, and he was an investor. And so he purchased a 2-unit building in San Francisco. So what's really common in San Francisco, they're not duplexes per se, they're actually one on top of each other, but they're 2-unit buildings in San Francisco. And so about a year and a half ago, he bought this because I met him and he wanted me to represent them on the purchase. So he bought a 2-unit building. And what did he pay for that? That's a very good question. I want to say he only paid about $1 million for it. Okay, and it had tenants, it was in a real rundown shape, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, long story short, he got rid of the tenants, fixed the place up, and he just almost did a studs down remodel. This place is amazing. And 2 vacant units in San Francisco, a 2-unit building that's vacant is very valuable. So the cool thing is that one of the things I talked to him about is I would represent him on the buy side, but when he's done with the project, I want to represent him on the sell side because he knew that he was flipping this. So he was doing this just to make money. So I don't know exactly how much money he has into it, but the bottom line is he bought a building for $1 million. We put it on the market about a year and a half later, and we just closed it for $2 million this week. And the best part is that we got multiple offers, and it went for $300,000 over the asking price. I'm really fortunate right now. The market in San Francisco is pretty hot, and so this is one of the reasons I really wanted to make sure that everybody understands the importance of building and developing these professional relationships with people who work the high-end market or who have clients that are in the high-end market. So this is a perfect example of how building your sphere of influence can introduce you to people that potentially one day could say, hey, I'm working with this developer who's doing multi-million-dollar properties. Can you help him out? And so this is just a great instance of that helping and working out. So this is something that you want to do. So that's takeaway number 1, is making sure that you are building your sphere of influence so you can meet these movers and shakers who are working with high net worth individuals like mine. Now, the other thing that I helped him and consulted with him on is doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange. So as you probably know, or you may not know, when you have an investment property such as this, the IRS tax code allows you to to defer the income tax that you're going to have to pay on any capital gains. So let's just say, forget about the cost of renovation. Let's just say he bought it for $1 million and then he sold it for $2 million. He's got a $1 million capital gain, super simplified, and that's a lot of tax. The capital gains tax on that would be a huge tax bill. So the law says, the 1031 tax deferred exchange law in the IRS code says that as long as he takes that $2 million and buys a property of equal or greater value, then he doesn't have to pay the tax on that $1 million capital gains. So this is something that's really important. And the reason I think that you guys need to know this is a significant way for your clients to save money on taxes. I like to be known as their real estate advisors. And so one of the things I will say 1 million times, Do not take my tax advice. I tell my clients, make sure they get their own tax attorneys that explain everything to them. The law is very rigid. You can't touch the money when you sell your property. You have to use a 1031 tax deferred exchange person, and so the money goes to them. There's very strict form is over substance when it comes to the IRS tax code. So it would behoove you, number two, the second takeaway here, is make sure that you know somebody who does 1031 tax deferred exchange. In your city, there's probably a million different companies that do it. But introduce yourself to them, build your SOI with them, and also ask them questions and learn from them. Because this is a great way for you to provide valuable advice to your sellers, so that you know, at least you can talk about it in your head and suggest, maybe you should do a 1031 tax deferred exchange, and then introduce them and refer them to your 1031 tax deferred guy who can help them, make sure all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. But so it's really important, as your advisor, you want to be the advisors to your real estate clients, especially to your investors, because these guys are usually pretty savvy and pretty sophisticated, and they probably already know about this stuff already, but the bottom line is you want to be their real estate advisors. So that's takeaway number two. Takeaway number three is this. One of the things that I think that I was really happy about, and maybe I wasn't clear earlier, so my guy did a 1031 tax deferred exchange. After we closed this $2 million deal this week, I found a $4 million building. I think it's a 9-unit building that we wrote a contract on, wrote an offer on, and the seller accepted. So now my guy is doing a 1031 tax deferred exchange into a $4 million building. So if you think about this, it's actually pretty cool. My guy is saving a ton of money on taxes, number one. And number two, I got the buy side, the sell side, and now another buy side. I've done 3 transactions for this guy in the course of about a year and a half, getting 3 different commissions. And those commissions are actually just going up, of course, because each transaction got a lot more expensive. So again, this underscores the reason for you build your SOI with people who work with these people, build your SOI with developers and investors, because these are the kind of people that over the course of 10 years, you could do a lot of transactions and make a lot of money in. But here's the kicker, and this is the third takeaway, is that if you had asked me 20 years, would I be doing these kinds of deals, a $1 million deal, a $2 million deal, a $4 million deal, I would say you've got rocks in your head. Absolutely. The biggest takeaway for me in this whole story that I'm telling you, and it's takeaway number 3, is that you have to have the belief in yourself that you can do these transactions. You have to believe in yourself that you can work with high net worth individuals. You have to have the belief that you can do multi-million-dollar deals if that's what you want to do. You have to have the belief that you have a rudimentary understanding of tax-saving measures for your investor clients, like the 1031 tax deferred exchange. It is super important that you believe that you can do this. I have run into so many agents over the years. I have interviewed over 80 agents. I have coached for the last 10 years, coaching clients, listing agents. And one of the biggest things, the biggest sources of them holding themselves back is that they don't believe. They don't believe that they can do these transactions. And I don't know if it has to do with they don't believe that they have the right to do these transactions, or they don't have the knowledge, but this is something that your belief system has to be worked on every single day. This is one of the things that we work on in the collective. I know everybody rolls their eyes, everybody thinks this is bullshit, but I'm telling you this is the truth. You have to figure out different ways for you to work on your mindset in this area, in all areas. You have to figure out different ways to work on your mindset and your belief system that you can do these deals. and then take the plunge. You can do this. And this is a great story that I'm telling you right now about what's happening to me right now. But the bottom line is, you want to tell your own story. In 20 years from now, when you're a successful listing agent, what is that story that you're going to tell yourself? I want to know personally. Put it in the comments below. What is it that you can see yourself doing? You know, I frequently talk because I work in the San Francisco market, and so we have big prices, but you know, it could be something, you going from a $300,000 sale to a $500,000 sale and a $700,000 sale. The numbers almost don't matter. What matters is that you're continually improving yourself, you're working on your mindset, you're doing bigger numbers, you're making more money, and you're having a great life. That's what we concentrate on in the collective, my coaching program that I would love to talk to you more about. But in the meantime, make sure that you're working on your belief system so you can make this happen, and 20 years from now, you could have an amazing story to tell other people. And if you want to figure out how to do that, make sure you get my listing pipeline blueprint, which is down below. Just hit that link down below. And if you're interested even further, book a call with me and let's come up with a super cool story that you can tell yourself.